a member of Pax Christi Miriam College when I was a student. And then after graduating from college, I then became a member of Pax Christi Pilipinas. And I'm thrilled to be your host today. So, as we gather here, we are reminded of the power of youth voices in advocating for peace and understanding in our communities. Please know that this webinar is going to be recorded and that we expect to finish about 1 hour and 30 minutes. So, for an engaging forum, you may write your reactions in our chat box. If you have any questions, you can also use the chat box or you can send me a direct message. So today we will hear inspiring stories from young individuals who have chosen nonviolence as means to address conflict and challenges they face. These narratives not only highlight their courage, but also serve as a beacon of hope for others. So before we really go into the program, of course, it's important that we also spend this time to connect in prayer and to dedicate this forum um, as we gather today. So allow me to read the prayer. So let us put ourselves in the holy presence of the Lord in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts. We thank you for this opportunity to gather and share stories of hope, resilience, and nonviolence. We ask for your guidance as we listen to the voices of young people. May these stories inspire us to choose peace, to move in peace, and to live out peace in our lives and in our community. Amen. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing this space with me in prayer. Now, to give us the welcome remarks, I'd like to call on screen Dr. Gail Reyes Galang. Dr. Gail?
Hello, Mirma. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. It is an honor to welcome you all in this very important webinar, as what Ms. Mirma has just said. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from young individuals, but I'd like to think that all of us are young here, or maybe young at heart. And well, these individuals have chosen the path of nonviolence in their lives and choose to see or choose to focus on how nonviolence is seen also in the communities that they serve. So their stories are not just personal experiences. Um, they are experiences of people around them. They are powerful reminders of the impact that one voice can have in promoting peace and understanding. So as we listen, let us reflect on how we too can contribute to a culture of nonviolence in our own lives, in our own families, in our communities, in school. Many of you are students. So thank you again for being here, and I look forward to the inspiring stories that we will hear today. Maraming salamat. Back to you, Mirma.
Thank you, Dr. Gail. Thank you for those encouraging words. Now, to introduce our three speakers, okay, I will call on screen Miss Bev from the Generation Peace Youth Network and also Pax Christi. Did you know just the fact? Miss Bev was the first member of Pax Christi Miriam College. So it was her batch that uh, created or was with Dr. Castro when they established Pax Christi here in Miriam College. So that's just a little bit of a trivia. So with that, I'd like to now give the floor to Miss Bev. Hi, Miss Bev. Okay, I think her internet froze. There. Hi, Miss Bev. Are you here? Okay. I think we lost Bev. I do see her here on screen, but that's okay. So today we
I
have,
I can introduce our speakers first.
okay,
Um, but if Miss Bev is around, I'll ask again if she may want to introduce our second speaker.
all
Okay.
right, sige. Go
So
ahead, Dr. Gil.
our first speaker, um, her name is Sophia Diane Garcia. and she is affectionately called Soda. She serves as a senior program coordinator for Asia and the Pacific and communications officer at the Global Network of Women Peace Builders. In addition to her role at the Global Network, she is a part-time senior lecturer in the Global Affairs and Diplomacy Department at Miriam College, an associate at the Center for Peace Education, and a member of the Pax Christi Filipinas. Soda graduated from the master's program in Global Affairs Studies with a focus on international peace studies at the University of Notre Dame, Indiana, USA in 2022, where she was honored to be a Kroc Institute Fellow on a full scholarship. Congratulations, Soda. Her extensive experience in peace building includes work with various organizations and commissions in the Philippines, focusing on the Philippine peace process, as well as issues related to youth, women, peace, and security. Okay, so we welcome Soda. She will be our first speaker. Okay, Miss Bev, are you already around?
Yes, am I clear?
Yes, yes. You may introduce the second and the third speaker.
Okay, thank you. Nag-lock lang yung internet. Perfect. And then next we have Catherine Magwad from Gentries, Bacolod. Catherine Magwad Zocame serves as the local youth development officer for and a chief of staff to the city of mayor of Sipalay City in Negros Occidental. In her role as LIDO, she collaborated various youth organizations throughout the city, leveraging her extensive network of support, particularly with Gentries, to facilitate and share valuable opportunities for young people. Kat is from Bacolod City, and she began her journey in peace and development work as a student leader at the University of St. LaSalle and later served as the youth coordinator for Pax Christi Negros. Kat holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Electronics Communications Engineering and has earned her master's degree in Conflict and Reconciliation Studies. Finally, we will hear from Raida Angal of Pax Christi Pilipinas, Basilan. Raida Abdul Angal is an exceptionally accomplished young leader. She earned her Bachelor of Secondary Education, majoring in General Science, graduating cum laude on June 1, 2023, and successfully passed the licensure examination for teachers last March 2024. In December 2022, Raida represented the Philippines at the International Youth Forum in Berlin, Germany, demonstrating her global engagement and dedication to addressing youth issues. Currently, Raida serves as the Sangguniang Kabataan Chairperson of Barangay Tairan and also holds the position of SK Federation President for Lantawan Municipality. These dual roles highlights her unwavering commitment to youth empowerment and community development within her municipality. In addition to her ongoing professional development, Raida volunteers as a science teacher for grades 8 and 10 at Tairan National High School. She actively
Maybe I can continue. She hailed from Bacolod City, where she started her formation in peace and development work as a student leader of the University of St. LaSalle and the youth coordinator of Pax Christi Negros years ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we also have Ms. Kat Magwad. Hello, Ms. Kat.
Hello, everyone.
Ayan. And then Dr. Gil or Bev, would you like to introduce Raida Angal?
Oh, Raida,
Yes.
her full bio note.
Just to introduce Raida so that later on Soda can pass on the screen to Kat and then Kat can pass on the screen to Raida.
Yeah,
Oh, you
okay.
got cut off kasi.
Aware.
You can
For
start
Raida.
with Raida again.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, apologies for the internet connection here in Ateneo. Finally, we will hear from Raida Angal of Pax Christi Pilipinas, Basilan. Raida Abdul Angal is an exceptionally accomplished young leader. She earned her Bachelor of Secondary Education majoring in General Science, graduating cum laude last June 1, 2023, and successfully passed the licensure examination for teachers last March 2024. In December 2022, Raida represented the Philippines at the International Youth Forum in Berlin, Germany, demonstrating her global engagement and dedication to addressing youth issues. Currently, Raida serves as the Sangguniang Kabataan Chairperson of Barangay Tairan and also holds the position of SK Federation President for the municipality of Balantawan. This dual role highlights her unwavering commitment to youth empowerment and community development within her municipality. In addition to her ongoing professional development, Raida volunteers as a science teacher for grades 8 and 10 at Tairan National High School. Raida actively participates in numerous seminars to enhance her leadership skills and responsibilities. Each of these young individuals here has shown incredible courage and creativity in addressing challenges through nonviolence. And without further ado, let's hear their stories. And may I call Miss Soda? Please take the virtual stage.
Thank you so much, Ate Bev, Dr. Gail, and colleagues here. So, can you hear me clearly? Walang hangin na. So yeah, I'll begin my sharing. I believe I'm given like maximum of 15. So, greetings of peace to everyone. My name is Sophia Diane C. Garcia, and as mentioned, SODA for short. And I'm a senior program coordinator for Asia and the Pacific at the Global Network of Women Peace Builders. I'm also a member of Pax Christi Filipinas and was also a member of Pax Christi Miriam College during my undergraduate years. Thank you very much to the organizers of this significant event for the opportunity to share stories of nonviolence in the context of women peace and security and youth peace and security based from the experience of GNWP. So, it cannot be denied that the world today is facing a lot of challenges, or what we call threats to peace, ranging from violence, war, climate crisis, forced displacement, widening gap between the rich and poor, and the disproportionate impacts of these on women, youth, and children. You read the news, you scroll through social media, you turn on the radio, it is everywhere. What makes it more alarming is that all of these challenges are interconnected and can exacerbate each other. Through having this understanding, we can say that peace is more than the absence of war. It is also the presence of justice and well being. The goal is not just to end war or direct violence, but also to ensure that the root causes of violence in any form are addressed. All the more we need to come together in addressing these through nonviolent means. I'm here today to share with you my reflections as a member of GNWP. So, a little bit of background about GNWP. We are an international coalition of over 100 women's organizations around the world working on peace building, conflict prevention, women's empowerment, and gender equality. Our vision and mission relate to today's theme on stories of nonviolence and how it is an instrument towards sustainable peace. GNWP's vision of peace is an equal, just, and peaceful world in which women and young women in all their diversity are recognized as leaders and decision makers, and their rights are promoted, protected, and fulfilled. It is a world where women and young women's peace building contributions to resolving and preventing conflicts are valued and adequately supported. We amplify diverse women's voices, promote their full, equal, and meaningful participation in all peace processes and decision making, and support their transformative work to prevent wars and violence, respond to crisis, and build just, inclusive, and sustainable peace. We enhance the capacities of women, young women, and girls around the world to bridge the gap between global policies on women, peace, and security, youth peace and security, and sustaining peace resolutions adopted by the United Nations and local action on the ground. So now I share with you um, the efforts of GNWP that contribute to creating a peaceful, inclusive, and non-violent world. First, enhancing the capacities of women and young women in conflict-affected areas. We all know that women and young women are disproportionately impacted by war and conflicts. They're the ones who experience multiple burdens caused by these threats to peace. Through conducting localization workshops on women, peace, and security across the world, we emphasize the importance of women's role as active peace agents. Our localization projects implemented in various parts of the world, such as in the Philippines, Bangladesh, Papua New Guinea, Cameroon, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, create local steering committees, for example, that draft and implement gender-responsive and conflict-sensitive laws that advance gender equality and peace. The WPS and YPS agendas, their synergies, along with sustaining peace resolutions, are important to the work that we do. These agendas emphasize the vital role of women and young women in realizing sustainable peace, not just within their communities, but also as global citizens. GNWP's localization approach helps ensure that these global commitments are translated into tangible actions at the community level. By using these international instruments, women and young women are enabled to transform their roles from victims of conflict and humanitarian crisis to active agents of peace. The resolutions promote diverse women and young women's voices and meaningful participation in political decision-making, allowing them to shape their present and the future of the next generations. So, for example, these consultations and workshops have sparked meaningful shifts in beliefs and attitudes, with participants expressing increased support for women's active participation in these types of processes. Quoting our senior program director and former president of Pax Christi Filipinas, Dr. Esmin Nario Galase, the most valuable resource for cultivating a culture of peace is the people themselves, as they are the ones who shape peaceful relationships and structures. Therefore, empowering individuals to become agents of peace is essential to this mission. This is at the heart of GNWP's work through its localization training. So that's the first one. Second is amplifying youth's voices. We believe in the power of women and youth. Our Young Women Leaders for Peace program that is present in countries across the world embodies a resolute commitment to empowerment and resilience, igniting transformative change in communities worldwide. Across diverse nations, this program serves as a catalyst, arming young women with skills such as numeracy, literacy, and public speaking that help develop the confidence needed to emerge as visionary leaders. Additional examples include project management workshops and awareness sessions on women's rights to build the economic leadership skills of locals and Rohingyas in Bangladesh, and to address root causes of conflict and promote peace. These form pathways that foster a new generation of peace builders who actively champion women's rights and gender equality. Third, building bridges of understanding. As part of our initiatives, we actively create safe and brave spaces by organizing dialogue sessions to foster mutual understanding between, for example, young refugees and young members of host communities. These sessions not only raise awareness of challenges refugees face, but also mobilize action to advocate for their rights at local, national, regional, and global spaces. Through our efforts, we have strengthened leadership skills that promoted social cohesion among youth and increased awareness of refugee issues, driving tangible changes in attitudes and inspiring participants to take nonviolent action within their communities to support refugee rights and inclusion. Fourth, collaborating with diverse stakeholders. Change is driven by collective action. And in our work, we collaborate with diverse stakeholders, local communities, media, policymakers, the international community to promote women peace and security and youth peace and security at all levels. Central to this work are the lived realities of those who face the threats to peace every day. Local ownership is essential in identifying solutions to these challenges, as peace-building efforts cannot succeed without the direct involvement of those most affected. As our CAO and founder Mavic Cabrera Balieza emphasizes, the success or failure of international peace building and conflict prevention efforts will always come down to the local level. Therefore, local peace building should define high-level efforts and not the other way around. By ensuring local voices lead the way, we help make peace not only possible, but sustainable. So these are just some of the many initiatives of GNWP that enabled women and youth to meaningfully participate and lead in conflict prevention, conflict resolution, peace building, and sustaining peace in their communities. So now I go into the part wherein I share some personal reflections on how conflicts are resolved non-violently and its results. So as part of GNWP, I've been working in the field of peace building for quite a while, since I was in college. And I have witnessed firsthand the power of nonviolent strategies through advocating for women and young women's meaningful participation in building a just, inclusive, equal, and peaceful society, particularly through the pathways that enable people to come together and share their stories and narratives that influence concrete actions. So I hope that this gathering would also inspire our students and our audience to continue to be advocates of positive change in not just in our communities, but also in our country and of the world. Moreover, when I say meaningful, it's not just merely sitting in meetings, but also making your voice heard and influencing decisions. No one should be left behind. As a global diverse community, there are many reasons why we should continue in turning our vision of peace into reality. Two main reasons come into my mind, which has been instilled in me since I was studying in Miriam College. One, it's because it is our ethical imperative. And second is that it is our political and legal obligation to protect, respect, and uphold human rights. Our goal is to tackle the root causes of violence that remain barriers to lasting peace. We also embrace the principle of communion, recognizing that we are all on this journey together. As a Catholic, I believe that each and every one of us are created in the image and likeness of God, called to transform his message into action by spreading love, peace, justice, and nonviolence. Finally, our mission is reflected in our work to amplify the voices of the voiceless and the marginalized, those who have suffered violence and the disproportionate impacts of conflict. We are called to strengthen their capacities and help them realize their full potential, empowering them as agents of change. In my many years in peace building, the path to peace is never easy. And my colleagues here, my femtors, Ate Bev, Dr. Castro, Dr. Galang, Ate Mirma, they know this. But we continue forward. And because we know that we are not alone in this cause, I have my fellow peace builders from different generations who continue to inspire me to be in this field. So to finally wrap up my sharing, in the world that we live in, a non-violent future may seem out of reach, but I believe we have already begun to plant the seeds of peace and hope. One day, these seeds will bloom into a transformed reality. Until then, let us keep planting with faith as one nation, one global community, united in our mission to make a non-violent world not just a distant dream, but a reality we create together. I firmly believe that our collective actions today lay the foundations for the peace of tomorrow and the future of generations. Thank you very much. Magandang hapon po.
Maraming salamat, Soda. Virtual palakpakan naman. Up next, of course, we have another very inspiring person, a dear friend. Let's listen to Miss Kath. Miss Kath, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Kath. I am actually here in Sipalay City. Just a brief background about Sipalay. This is the last city of Negros Occidental in the south. So we are equidistant to going to Bacolod City. We are 3 hours away. And we are also 3 hours away to Dumaguete. So parang nasa, kumbaga, Negros Island is para siyang medyas at kami yung nasa hill. So medyo technically malayo kami sa Bacolod and malayo rin kami sa Dumaguete, which are both the centers of two provinces, Negros Occidental and the Oriental. So technically, iisang region na kami ngayon, pero masyadong malawak ang difference. But of course, we really believe in a lot of similarities and difference. Gaya din yan ng mga how I believe about working for peace and living non-violently. So, Sipalay City is actually known as the jewel of the Sugar Island. We are the go-to area in terms of beach, leisure, ganon. So, technically, a lot of people would call us the Boracay of Negros Island, but the city government, ayaw namin. Kasi Sipalay is Sipalay. And we like the beauty and nature of Sipalay, the way we are running it right now. We want to keep the economic development good, pero medyo strict kami in terms of capacity, like the tourist arrivals and the like. So, paano ko nandito? Kasi sinasabi kanina ni Bev, I am from Bacolod. At also, Mirma, yes, I am from Bacolod. I really grew up in Bacolod. But for 5 years now, going 6, I am a Sipalainon. I was invited to come and join the mayor during her first term to be her chief of staff. And then I had to transfer. To decide to be as a Palayan. And I'm happy about it because kahit nung Bacolod nun ako, Sipalay has been my favorite city in the province. Because here, I've been able to do a lot of development work, especially what we do as youth leaders in Gen Ps. So mas welcoming si Sipalay than of my own city in Bacolod at that time. So, punta tayo sa mga kwento na very specific. I love hearing Soda earlier kasi parang nare-refresh ako sa mga pinag-uusapan at saka yung mga laging mga strong na ina-advocate. I have to admit, ang hirap-hirap pala siya i-live out in a place na baguhan din ako at saka in a place na a lot of people love me to be here pero ang dami din na ayaw sa akin in the very first place. Kasi being a Bacolandan myself, turned si Palainon, a lot of people resented kung bakit ang taas-taas ng position ko at a young age. So, naiintindihan ko, pero mas naintindihan ko siya when I was already struggling about a lot of experiences. So, in 2019, July of 2019, I started working as the chief of staff of the city mayor, but my plantilla position was community affairs officer. So, very broad ang position. And it's first time ng syudad na nagkaroon ng chief of staff. With all humility, the offer was to be a city administrator. But knowing me in the formation that I have had in LaSalle and that of Gen Ps and the like, ayaw ko namang mag-commit into something that I know I cannot be the best of me. So I requested for time to really get to know the city. However, in 2019, ang daming mga challenges sa amin bilang baguhan ako, baguhan din yung mayor na boss ko, but she was 3-term vice mayor before she became mayor. She was my longtime partner as when I was still in LaSalle doing community programs, especially for the undernourished children in school in partnership with Jollibee Group Foundation. So medyo magkakilala kami. Pero nagulat ako when I was asked to head ng closure sana ng 20 plus years old na conflict dito sa Sipalay at that time. Merong 20 plus year na conflict among informal settlers and a big family here in Sipalay. So, knowing my background on conflict and reconciliation, my boss said, Kath, baka pwede mo namang tutukan to. But I started with no records coming from the team na nag-handle nun before. So parang it was my baptism of fire. Pumupunta ako ng community with only one staff and a driver na hindi ko alam. A lot of people dread to go there pala kasi pwede kang ma-harass lang because they were used to having that for 20 plus years. But I'm so grateful for the exposure and the formation that I have had with Pax Christi Negros, with LaSalle as Balayan volunteer, with Gen Peace, that I had the courage to talk to people. So I went there not as the chief of staff of the mayor. I simply went there as a new Vice Palainon. And I started talking to them, listening to their stories, na hindi lang sa present, but more of the past, the trauma, the hurt, and the like. So to cut the long story short, it had been a 2-year journey for me. And luckily in 2021, we were able to properly turn over places for these people to have to call their own. At the same time, may mga conflicts na interpersonal conflict na bridge natin. So for me, hindi ko makakalimutan yung experience na yon, but ito yung isa sa pinaka high risk kong trabaho at the time. It is a barangay. I could not name the barangay kasi others might be online as well. Ito yung kinakatakutan na barangay din dito sa among the 70 barangays in terms of handling informal settlers. So for now, lalo na sa mga staff namin sa community affairs, ito naging isa sa mga inspiration namin. So with that, maliban dun sa mga naiayos nating mga Sipalaynons, merong 2 resorts na from 2019, 2021, in 2021 na turnover natin. And now, masaya siyang nag-ooperate at nakakapag-employ ng maraming tao, hindi lang coming from that barangay, but elsewhere in the city. So I think that's one of the stories na sana makapulutan din ng aral. Pero ang sasabihin ko talaga, hindi siya madali. It was more of so much risk and patience talaga na minsan bilang peace worker, nawawala din ako sa track. But the main point of dreaming for a situation na magkakaayos ang mga tao na sana walang patayan na magaganap or harassment na may guns ang iba just like 20 plus years ago, na-achieve naman natin. So another hat ko in terms of the city government is really being the chief of staff of the mayor. Na masyadong na-stretch, lalo na yung skills, patience, and siguro yung spiritual journey ko din during the COVID times. Kasi wala kaming reference point. Pero si Palay City is one of actually the first city or the first LGU in Negros Occidental to declare checkpoints, to declare close down of the city before the province did. After Manila was closed down, talagang nag-close down kami kasi nga kami ang go-to area. People would want to go here. Baka hindi namin kakayanin. We are less than 100,000 Sipalaynons, pero most of the Bacolodnon and other Negrenses would want to always come, especially nung pa-lockdown na. So, isa ako sa main persons ng Interagency Task Force. So, maliban sa Chief of Staff tsaka LYDO kong posisyon, I was also the Supervising Information Officer. So, a lot of data comes in and out of my mind, my system, and the like. So during the lockdown, kami-kami lang ang nakakapaglibot, nakakapag-ikot, lumalabas for the whole city, setting up systems and the like. So naging marami ang relatives ko because at that checkpoint, a lot of people would claim that they are my grandmother, they are my titos, titas, cousins, and the like, para lang makapass through. Kasi nag-declare po kami na travel forms. So namomonitor namin sino ang lumalabas ng city, sino ang pumapasok, sino ang mag-just pass through the city. So we monitor that to secure our people. So ang milestone namin in terms of COVID, kami ang may pinakamaliit na casualties, pero malaki rin yung gastos namin and the like, just to secure our people. Yung mga unang cases namin are issues of dishonesty. A lot of people would claim that they are Sipalaynons, only to find out na sa 1 week or 2 weeks na sila sa quarantine namin, dun pa lang namin madidigap na they're not Sipalaynons. So a lot of people are mad about me or towards me or the systems that we're doing along with the mayor. Kaso lang, mas takot sila sa mayor namin. So ang talagang tagasalo ng galit ng tao, ako at saka yung mga members ng executive team at saka ng IATF. Pero may isang experience na grabe hanggang ngayon may trauma pa ako and my staff. Pero natapagtatawanan na namin, especially when I was preparing for this sharing. Merong dalawang nagreklamo, talagang confronted me in the mayor's office, was trying to attack me at the mayor's office. Kasi I was abusive of my power daw. Nagreklamo itong isang kasama niya sa LGU page namin privately, which I also responded privately. Kaso, this person wanted me to disclose my identity. Hindi pwede kasi LGU page ang gamit-gamit namin. So, to cut the long story short, a lot of our people in the city government, may mga connivance at saka nag-disclose ng identity ko. Kaya nag-attack sila sa mayor's office. Trying to tell the mayor that I was abusive and the like. So, that was really violent. A violent discussion. Kasi I was technically betrayed with some of the subordinates na dinisclose nga yung identity ko. But we were able to clarify it naman. But I want to admit, that was the only time na talagang naging violent din ako after an hour of trying to just discuss things properly. The violence that I was able to do, worse na yung naslam ko din yung table just to stop the violence that had been happening and this and that. Pero the difficult discussion naman, knowing us, peace builders, we will still fight for that peace process in the long run. So naayos naman siya, but I want to admit the interpersonal relationship among a lot of people involved, even about people in our health office, talagang hindi na masyado namin na ibalik, but we still work together. We were able to champion our IATF work naman. So with all of this, at saka nung pagiging LYDO ko, ang dami-daming direct na mga conflicts na nangyayari. Usually, lagi akong nalalagay sa trial by publicity just because I speak about the right processes, kung anong dapat gawin, paano dapat namin i-handle. So, dealing with the SKs, marami rin akong experience on that note. Pero I must say, the discussions, the honest discussions, basta may patience lang talaga to really fight for peaceful means, talagang it works naman. Pero we just have to brace ourselves kasi ang daming repercussion din internally. So I think all of us would be able to also have meaningful discussions along the way kahit na mahihirap ang sitwasyon. And in that note, I want to also invite Raida to share her own stories. Thank you.
Hi po.
So,
Hi, Miss Raida. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes po. Pwede po
Okay.
ako mag-share ng screen, ma'am.
Dr. Gail, let's make Raida co-host. All right, so while we wait for Ms. Raida to present her presentation, I'd like to thank Kath. Thank you for sharing your story. I know that some students are already thinking of questions to ask later. So we'll hear more from you during the question and answer portion.
okay.
All right, Ms. Raida, you're now made as co-host. Ms. Raida, would it be okay if you could rotate your presentation?
Sure, ma'am.
There you go. All right, the floor is now yours.
So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Isang mapapayapang araw po sa ating lahat. Una po, nagpapalamat po ako sa organizers. At the same time, sa NDA Foundation for giving opportunity to talk today. So, again, I am right young girl ko, a tomorrow, a for what's right. So, I entitled my Basilan. So, sorry po kung ganyan ang presentation. Is it clear lang po ba?
Yes, we can hear you well, Miss Raida.
Okay pa. Hello.
Yes, Miss Raida, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, so my story unfolds in Tairan, Lantawan, Basilan, a place where history and hope intertwine. My place has its natural beauty, rich culture, and a vibrant mix of people. So sa community po namin, nagsasamang namumuhay ang Islam and Christian brothers and sisters natin. But beneath the surface, there are deep-rooted historical tensions. So I grew up witnessing not only the subtle tensions between our Islam and Christian communities, but also the heartbreaking realities of teenage pregnancy and early marriage. Way back when I was in naririnig ang putukan from the other community. Namulat din po ako sa kritisismo ng ibang religion sa aming religion. I personally experienced being mocked and bullied at school dahil nga isa akong Islam. On the other hand, meron din po akong mga kaibigan who are also mocking my Catholic brothers and sisters. I remember one of my friend told me, sino yung Diyos nila? Bakit sila sumasamba sa estatwa? Bakit sila kumakanta? Pwede ba yan sa simbahan nila? Nung mga panahong po iyon, hindi ko pa lubos maintindihan. Ang tanging alam ko lang nung panahong iyon ay ang respetuhin sila dahil yun ang turo sa akin ng aking mga magulang. Bukod po doon, way back, kakaunti lamang ang opportunities na naibibigay sa amin dahil sa limitations po namin bilang Muslim or bilang Islam. And at the same time, tumataas at dumarami rin po ang bilang ng early marriage at teenage pregnancy. Dulot na rin ng aming religious belief. Maraming mga Muslim teens sa barangay namin ang kinakasal ng maaga at tila naging normal na lamang yon. Nakakalungkot mang isipin, pero that's the reality po. The mindset of the parents noong unang panahon or noong panahon na yon ay makapag-aral lang ang kanilang anak o makapagtapos lang ang kanilang anak ng elementary, matutong magsulat at magbasa, that's okay. Pwede ka nang ikasal. Kasi hindi ka na maloloko. Kasi marunong ka nang magbasa. Kasi marunong ka nang magsulat ng pangalan mo. So personally, this personal connection fuels my commitment to building peace and fostering understanding in my community. But amidst this complexity, ang mga magulang ko, they instilled in me a profound lesson. Religious equality. My father, who passed away 1.5 years ago, taught me that walang rehiyon ang mas nataas. Lahat ng rehiyon ay pantay-pantay. They emphasize mutual respect. Higit sa lahat, that it's free to dream high And this became my foundation na hanggang ngayon, dala-dala ko pa rin siya. At habang ako'y nagkakaisip, mas umiigting ang aking pagnanais na baguhin ang nakasanayan at maging simula ng pagbabago. 11 years ago, ang isang mahiyaing Raida, o mas kilala sa tawag na Rai, na gusto ng pagbabago ay unti-unting lumabas sa kanyang lungga. And by then on, dumating si Nagdilaab Foundation Incorporated. NFI, a beacon of hope, a catalyst for change. At sinong mag-aakala na ang NFI ay magiging malaking impluwensya sa aking paglago bilang kabataang may pakialam? Ang mga programa nila ay hindi lang tungkol sa skill building. They were about empowerment, about fostering a sense of self-worth and agency. Nagsimula ako bilang participants nila, Children's Peace Camp. And then, nadiskubre at naging volunteer facilitator. So I experienced being a little teacher who teaches children in my community about basic writing and reading. Naging boses din ako ng mga kabataan sa aming lugar. And at the same time, nagsilbi rin akong anchor noong panahon ng COVID-19 upang magbigay ng informasyon at itama ang mga perception, especially ng aming mga religious sectors na hindi naniniwala sa mga bakuna. So Sinagdilaab really helped me hone my skills in leadership, communication, and conflict resolution. They prepared me for a pivotal opportunity. Gaya nga ng sinabi ni Ma'am Bebs kanina, I represented the Philippines at the International Youth Forum at Berlin, Germany. And that experience broadened my perspective. So sa Berlin, Germany, I was able to share Basilan's story and learn from other young leaders around the world. Bumalik ako sa lugar namin with renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of global challenges. And at this time, 11 years ago, our leaders in the local government unit and community, especially ang aming mga religious sectors, they started a meaningful conversation. Nag-una and stereotype. Sa totoo lang, hindi naging madali. Hindi talaga naging madali, but it's a process. Kasi along the way, we build a relationship. We foster understanding and respect among religion. So currently, I am the SK chairperson of my community, and my initiatives in collaboration with the Nagdilaab and other CSO ay hindi lamang tungkol sa pag-address ng teenage pregnancy and early marriage, but they were about challenging the root cause and the societal pressures, the lack of opportunities, and the effects of historical division. So gaya ng mga initiative ni NFI, yung Peace Camp, Children Peace Camp, and the Youth Summit, like for instance, they played a crucial role. Why? Kasi we brought together young people from different backgrounds, fostering dialogue, understanding, and reconciliation through various activities. We also launched the Empowerment Through Education program, kung saan we provide free reproductive health workshop in collaboration with the MHO, the Municipal Health Office, and scholarship for our youngers and boys pursuing high education. So we also provided programs for the youth in our community, such as Bola Contra Doga or Bola Hindi Baby, a sports fest for the youth, tepo making for the women's and youth with skills. We've also provided free haircut, outreach program, and many more, just to ensure that the majority are given the opportunity. So itong mga initiatives na ito ay born from collaboration and fueled by hope. So, and this transform our community. So, kung ako ang tatanungin, as I look at our community, I see a transformation underway. The shadows of the past are slowly receding, replaced by the sunlight of hope and collaboration. We've not only addressed teenage pregnancy and early marriage, but we've also fostered a spirit of mutual respect and understanding between our Islam and Christian communities. Sa ngayon, we acknowledge and celebrate diversity. If only you can come to my home, you'll see how beautiful it is right now. Halimbawa, if there's an Eid celebration po ng mga Muslim, we invite our brothers, Catholic brothers and sisters, and nakiki-celebrate din po talaga sila sa amin. Or kapag may fiesta, so kaming mga Muslim, we respect their celebration and at the same time, nagpa-participate din po kami sa kanilang program. So, this is our story. Hindi lang siya story, kundi story siya ng resilience, ng empowerment, ng unity. Ito yung testament ng power ng transformative influence ng mga organizations katulad ng Nagdilaab. Hindi lang to siya isang legacy eh. Ito ay isang movement. Isang movement that is fueled by hope, driven by action, and guided by the unwavering belief in the inherent worth and potential of every single individual in our community. Malayo pa. Kung naririnig niyo ang mga news about Basilan, alam kong malayo pa, ngunit alam din namin na may pagbabago nang nangyayari. Hindi pa man lubusang payapa sa probinsya ng Basilan, and I know that it's long and challenging, but we're making a progress. Ako, ang pangarap ko ay hindi lamang para sa aking community, kundi ng buong probinsya ng Basilan. Kaya naman, kaming mga kabataan ng Basilan, we are actively involved, working tirelessly to improve our province. We're not just talking about peace, we're building it, one project, one initiative, one act of service at a time. Gusto namin ipakita na ang Basilan ay isang probinsya ng resilience, a province of hope, a province on the rise, and not a province of war. So, that would be all. I'm sorry. I hope na narinig po ninyo.
Yes, maraming salamat po, Miss Raida. Truly a very inspiring story that you shared with us. It's so nice and so great to have this opportunity to hear from Miss Raida, who is from Basilan, Pax Christi. It's also great to hear stories, of course, from Kath and of course from Soda as well. So thank you to our speakers for sharing such powerful and moving stories. Now we have a few minutes to open the floor for some questions. So if you have a question, you can unmute, or if your internet connection is not so good, you can also use the chat box. So kindly use the raise hand icon here in Zoom so that I can acknowledge you, and so that I can acknowledge you or allow you to speak. All right, so there's a message here in the chat box. Congratulations to Nagdilaab Foundation for making a meaningful impact on people's lives, including Raidas. Thank you, Raida, Soda, and Kath, for sharing your inspiring stories. Thank you, Dr. Jazz, for joining us today. All right, so I believe there's a question from Hannah Monhe, who is a fourth-year student from the International Studies Department here at Miriam College. Go ahead, Hannah.
Hello, am I audible po?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
This is for Miss Raida from Basilan. As an educator, and as a member of Pax Christi Pilipinas, what can I do as a member of the youth? What can I do to bring the conflict of Basilan province into the national level, given that most of our electoral leaders today do not do not really believe in your position as a belonging to the Islamic faith. So how can I move forward with that, given that um it is not recognized in the national level? Thank you.
Yan. So, thank you very much, ma'am, for that. Ang lalim, no? Totoo, pero it's a reality talaga. Ako, personally, matagal na naming challenge yun eh. Challenge yun para sa amin. And, kumbaga, hinahagkan namin yung challenge na yan. So, ang ginagawa namin ngayon, naniniwala kami na hindi man ngayon, pero darating yung panahon na mare-recognize din kami. So, ang ginagawa namin ay patuloy kaming gumagawa, patuloy namin ginagawa ang mga initiatives namin with the help of the Nagdilaab. And si Nagdilaab, may mga, anong tawag dyan, partners sila na tumutulong sa amin para maipakita namin kung ano ba talaga yung situation dito sa Basilan. At kung hindi man po kayo naniniwala, no, dahil na rin, dulot na rin siguro ng mga news na ating naririnig and mga recent na kaganapan. So I cannot blame you, but I can assure you that malaki po ang Basilan. Hindi man kasing laki ng ibang lugar sa Luzon, pero hindi po lahat ng lugar sa Basilan ay nakakatakot. That's true po. Hindi po lahat ng lugar sa Basilan ay nakakatakot. At patunay na riyan ang aming lugar dahil ang aming lugar we have diverse ang religion namin. We have the Muslim and the Christian. So we are united in our community. Hindi lamang siya na-recognize dahil nga kami ay Islam. At ang mga electoral natin ay nakakataas ay hindi gaanong connected sa amin. But then again, gaya ng sinabi ko, patuloy lang ho ang aming mga initiative. Hindi man ngayon, pero darating ang panahon na makikilala rin po kami.
Miss Raida, sorry, pasensya lang ho. Kasi po ang problema kasi is that I think it all boils down to ideology of people or the psychology of people that are running the government. That is why I'm also stressing that. Pag sinabing ideology, yung perspective or yung pananaw ng isang electoral leader. Kaya yun din ang problema doon, Miss Raida. Right?
Yes
So,
po.
I I cannot stress it enough po, Miss Raida, but it now I see the frustration that all the three speakers are emphasizing because it really is hard. So yun lamang po, Miss Raida. Salamat. At mabuhay.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Hannah, and thank you, Ms. Raida. Next, we have four hands. So what I'll do is I'll call them one by one. We have Danielle Noche, followed by Rafael Catulin, and then Irish Francisco, and then Bianca Ferrer. So let's hear first from Danielle Noche.
Hi po, I am Dani. I'm fourth year BA International Studies student. I just want to thank all the speakers and folks since all of them are very inspiring. But this question is for Miss Raida. So as I was really inspired by Miss Raida for her courage in stepping out of her shell to advocate for nonviolence. So my question po is, for young people who are in a similar situation, especially those whose parents hold different views on social issues or politics, how can they express their values and push for change without being labeled as rebellious or disconnected from their families? And given that youth voices are often dismissed or not heard by adults, how might we effectively advocate for nonviolence in ways that are more likely to resonate with older generations? That's all po. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Raida. Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. Miss Raida, are you in the call? Okay, I think we lost Miss Raida, but Danielle, while we wait for Miss Raida to come back, would you like to address your question to the other panelists that we have or speakers that we have today?
Yes po. Any one of them can answer for the question. Thank you po.
Thank you, Danielle.
Sige. Mirma, I
Sige,
wanted
go ahead, Kath.
Sige. Hi, Danny. So, on your question, actually, I'm reflecting as a mother of a 2-year-old. Kasi napag-uusapan na rin namin ng husband ko and siblings. Actually, kailangan talagang nag-uusap tayo bilang pamilya. The intergenerational gap is evident and we have to acknowledge it, as well as difference in terms of personalities, how we deal with situation, as well as perspective in just a lot of things. And we know Gen Zs are way different than the millennials and more so very, very different than the boomers. Pero ang masasuggest ko at nakikita kong nagwo-work din in our own community, papatrabaho man or pamilya, is really having the courage to discuss things, discuss the matters, para na mas nagkakaintindihan. But of course, just acknowledge that it's not an instant thing na parang pag sinabi natin, maiintindihan agad or mafe-feel natin agad. So a lot of courage to open up and a lot of patience to let the involved grow and also evolve in the process. So parang yun in general ang nakikita ko pwede nating tingnan at itry and i-explore how to really go about the situation.
Yan, maraming salamat, Miss Kath. May gusto ka bang dagdag, Sofia? Talagang Sofia, soda.
Naninibago din ako sa Sophia. I'll just like to echo what Miss Kath, Ate Kath has said, na the importance of dialogue. And I think when it comes to nonviolence as a theme, active listening is also very important. Sometimes when people like keep on talking, hindi nagkakaintindihan. You may have encountered that in your everyday life or even in diverse sets of circumstances. So I think it's important that we listen actively, and it's also a way of being feeling comfortable, like being comfortable, you're comfortable being uncomfortable. It's a paradox, but sometimes you just have to be in that situation to be able to face, for example, adversities. So those are just like my 2 cents, and I also practice that in the work that I do or even when I interact in my everyday life. So minsan kailangan lang natin makinig and be in the present moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kath, and thank you, Soda. There was a hand, Rafael Catulin. Go ahead, Raf.
Hello po. Is my audio heard correctly po or all right?
Yes, very well.
All right,
I
well,
can
thank
hear
you. So, I would firstly like to ask, this is for all the speakers who I would just like to commend, really gave inspiring, and enlightening stories from their work, from their lived experiences, and I really learned a lot from their presentations. I would like to ask, what are untapped spaces where youth can advance nonviolence, given the complexity of the challenges to peace? Thank you.
Napahinga si Kath sa tanong ni Rafael.
Soda, gusto mo bang mauna?
Ilalim, parang philosophical question. Pero ako nasa philo class bigla. But I kind of bring it back to Raf in a way that when you define untapped spaces, what does untapped space mean? It varies like how communities, for example, define it. But on the flip side, and just reflecting on my journey as a peace builder, I would say that this is where advocacy comes in. Like we are passionate about a certain issue and we go into that space. And our friends are passionate with another issue and they enter that space. But at the end of the day, despite what space you're in, your space interconnects. And we hear this a lot in international development or even in communities na we cannot work in silos. So I think tying it back to the idea of untapped spaces have already been tapped, but it's a matter of how do we intersect in these spaces? How do we ensure that we look at it from a lens, not just singling out one issue, but we look at it from a bigger picture na one issue exacerbates another issue, and if this issue isn't addressed, then this issue can happen or this issue can get worse. So I would say that as a young person, there's a lot of problems happening around the world, but go with where you are most passionate about because it will be your starting point to also contribute to a larger cause in different spaces and issues. So for example, in my case, I started with the peace process. I was a college student back then, and then it evolved to women peace and security and youth peace and security, and even to nuclear disarmament. So all of these relate to each other. So it's very, very important that we have that diverse sets of lens. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Soda. Kath.
I just want to add to Soda's point na yes, it's really true to acknowledge where you're coming from and where you are at the moment and see ano ba ang untapped dun sa space that you are in. But in general, since I have been working with the youth leaders, and for sure, you're among the youth leaders in our country, parang sa akin yung ang top space that we have to really also deal with is yung for the youth right now to be comfortable with being in an awkward situation. Na having awkward or difficult conversation, it doesn't mean na kakainisan mo na yung other party at ikaw lang ang laging tama or you're the victim and the other party is the one victimizing you. Being in a difficult situation or especially conversation, sana mas matutunan nating mag-evolve into from that difficult situation or discussion para mas maipalabas natin yung resilience that we have. Kasi I believe all of us is resilient. We just limit ourselves to certain points or levels. Kaya yung iba, parang sasabihin, hindi ako resilient. So mag-give up right away pag difficult na yung sitwasyon. I've been into a lot of discussions with elders and younger ones, especially in my hat being the local youth development officer of Sipalay. But I always stand in a neutral point na hindi nababase sa edad, but in the level of experience and of course in the level of acceptance that we all grow in equally. We can grow equally depending on our level of courage na ipinaglalaban or we live out the life that we are in right now. So parang parehas din siya ng pakikinig actively and living the life that we believe as long as hindi tayo nakakasakit or nakakaapak ng rights ng iba in living the life that we want. And sana yung untapped space among the youth that sana mapag-isipan natin, it's not all about colors, it's not all about music. In living a life that can be shared in a peaceful means. What I want to drive at is a lot of youth right now would hate people na nakikipag-usap sa kanila or nagbe-bring up ng mga topics na awkward for them. Teenage pregnancy, for example, getting away from illegal drugs and the like, mas hindi kinakapitan ng youth. Mas gusto nila yung mahilig kumanta, magaling sumayaw, kasi vibe, mga ganon. So parang for me, sana what the youth will just embrace na hindi lahat sa buhay nadadala sa saya, sa gimmick, at saka sa loud music. There are variety of things in life na sana ma-appreciate din natin yung umupo, makipag-discuss, or mag-jamming, pero makakapag-usap ng what is really at hand base sa kung nasan kayo. So yun, sana may matutulong sa pag-iisip natin.
Ayan, maraming salamat, Kat, for deepening, the discussion on tapped spaces. And thank you, Soda. Okay, so let's now listen to Bianca, followed by Irish. Go ahead, Bianca.
Hello, good afternoon po. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you po for all the speakers for sharing your experiences. And my question po goes to all the speakers kasi you've all mentioned po that the path to peace is never easy and there are so many challenges to peace that we're facing today po and probably in the future. So for us students po na we are about to enter the field and we still have limited spaces to really enact change, do you have any advice po for us to stay motivated, resilient, and unwavering in our commitment to the very long process of peace building, especially po when the progress seems slow and difficult and structural injustices remain very widespread? Thank you po.
Would anyone like to answer? Soda?
Yeah,
Go
I'll take
ahead,
that.
Soda.
Two things came on top of my mind. Is number one is to continue to be aware of what's happening around us, because it's easy to shut down with what's happening around the world. When you turn on social media, it's all negative. But I think it's very important that we continue to be aware in a sense that to be able to find solutions to these problems, it's important that you understand why these problems are happening. So that's the first one. On a personal level, I would say that you find your seeds of hope. And these seeds of hope or seeds of peace come in many forms. And it can be through relationships, it can be through how you take care of yourselves that keep you motivated and be, I would say, in the path to peace. For me, my seeds of um peace and hope are coming or are represented by my femtors or my peace icons in my life, who continue to inspire me. And as I think it was Ate Kath who mentioned a while ago, it's very intergenerational. I find hope from the generations who already have experienced a lot when it comes to peace building. So you have Dr. Jazz, Dr. Castro, who were my former professors, and also my femtors. I have sila Ate Kath, Ate Mirma, who are like my seniors sa Gen Peace. And I also find hope in my students. Some of you are my students here, and I continue to learn from you. In the words of one of my femtors, we are all lifelong learners. And through that, we are able to continue in that path to peace, whether it can be bumpy, it is bumpy, it's chaotic, but we find strength in one another and we find hope. And sabi nga, we find, I hope in thee for us. So, yeah. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Kathy. Want to add something?
Thank you, Soda. Yung sa akin, generally, 6 points. One, go out and mingle. Explore the world. Don't be structured in your comfort zone. But of course, be mindful of your safety as well and your limitations. Number 2, connect with your inner core. As you go out, you might be overwhelmed with a lot of things, a lot of people, yung mga bago, but always connect with your core. Alam ko, have been your formation in Miriam College and your exposure, you know who you are and what you want in life. So, yun, hold on to that. Number 3, choose your circle. huwag kalimutan ang pamilya, but know your circle. May mga pamilya kasi na gusto natin talaga lang mga members, meron yung hindi, di ba? But choose your circle among your family members, among your friends or co-workers later on. Alam mo, dapat choosy tayo. Hindi po pwedeng basta na lang sino ang nasa circle natin. Number 4, have mentors. In choosing your circle, may mga taong talagang mag-excel or parang gugustuhin nyo, listen to that. Bakit? And baka ito yung mga nililid sa atin na could be our mentors in life and not just in within our academic na years, but mentor, life coaches, life mentors, ganon. Number 5, choose your battles. As you go out, magiging very passionate kayo sa mga advocacies or mga gusto niyo yung gawin, but always go back na choose your battles. Hindi lahat ng problema sa mundo kailangan may sagot tayo at every time at saka lagit-lagi. Meron talagang kailangan you step back or may mga things or situation na hindi naman kailangan kayo ang talagang nasa forefront. So, be wise on that. Number 6, enjoy and be resilient. Enjoy life. Use your energy positively and enjoy as much as possible. But in the long run, be resilient kasi hindi madali talaga ang buhay, especially when you start working and your environment would be limited because of your position, because of your accountabilities and the like. But know your own world outside your work, outside your other commitments. Balik pa rin dun sa core. So yan. Thank you.
Thank you, Kath. Now it's 5:46. We have space for one last question, and I'll give the floor to Irish. Sorry, but we don't have time now, but perhaps you can send an email to our panels or our guest speakers today. Irish, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible po?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Irish, a fourth year BAIS at Miriam. And first, I would like to express my gratitude to our speakers, Miss Soda, Miss Kat, and Miss Rida, for sharing your inspiring stories of nonviolence. And it was an insightful discussion, especially as you shared some of the struggles you face as peace builders in your respective fields. And for my question, this goes for all the speakers po. I firmly believe that peace in the world begins with peace within oneself. In the struggle for peace, how do peace builders like you navigate moments of personal frustration, particularly when their emotional states conflicts with the need for calm and patience? Because I believe that acknowledging that peace builders are human and have emotions, and it is important. But how do you manage moments when you feel personally attacked, misunderstood, or burnt out? Is there a way to process these feelings in a constructive, non-violence manner? And that's my question po. Thank you.
Thank you, Irish. Soda, would you like to answer?
Yes, Ate Mira. Wow. Coping with like challenges as a peace builder. So people have their own way of coping, of trying to not really move on from example hurdles in the work that we do, for example, or even like things happening around us. But for me, what I do is I work out. If I feel frustrated about something, if I don't maybe my colleagues would attest, I'm the one of the most patient people that you meet. So mahaba ang pasensya ko. But when I feel like I'm in the brink of like probably breaking down, I step back. And this was mentioned by Ate Kath a while ago. So it's okay to step back and, take a breather. I clear my mind. So yeah, I go to the gym kung gaano katagal kailangan. Dr. Gil is also my gym buddy. So it's a safe space. It's a safe haven. That's one way how I cope with it. Number two, I talk, I don't really vent. I process it with people that I trust. I find my safe and brave space wherein I'm not judged if I tell them na I feel frustrated. And in the call, you know who you are. I feel frustrated, and yeah, someone's just listening to me. And when I release it after none, I'm fine. Third thing, this is what I've also done in college. I break down. I cry it out. One of my professors in Notre Dame told me, let the tears flow. And it helped me because if you cry it out, parang 15 minutes after, you're like, your swag is back. So like, I'm ready to take on any challenge. So I think those are like practical things that I do. Yeah, so finding your safe and brave space, working out, and letting the tears flow. And as what you've said, Irish, we're human, so it's very, very normal. Thank you.
Thank you, Soda. Very quickly, Miss Kath, go ahead.
As for me, parehas din kay Soda. But generally, I speak up. I speak my mind. As long as I'm in the right track or I'm still within the bounds. So I speak up. I feel myself. I allow myself to be mad, to be this and that. But of course, I don't show it to a lot of people. As much as possible, I just show it to people who are in within my very small circle. And then I take quiet moments. Lalo na pag galit na galit ako, the more galit ako, the more silent I am. So yun. Pag madaldal ako, okay pa ako. Pag alam ng mga tao sa paligid ko yan. And then, I pray. Masyado akong maldita looking, mga ganon. Yun yung laging nasasabi. Pero I know myself, I don't last a day without praying. Especially, mas prayerful ako during difficult situation. Kasi ayaw ko mapunta sa sitwasyon na I will regret or I will be doing harm to other people. Number 4, have unguarded discussions with the people you trust the most. Yung alam mong hindi ka ibebenta or ipagpapalit dahil alam nilang nagagalit ka or this is your weakest point. And lastly, the other portion pala is to step back and of course, plan. Plan your next steps, plan your course of action para alam mong hindi you would know na you are parang getting out of the situation properly. Kailangan may plano ka. Kailangan alam mo yung next move mo at bilang in the peace and development work, sana yung next move ay talagang in the framework of peace building and non-violence. Yun.
All right. So maraming salamat. Thank you everyone, to our students, for that very healthy exchange of questions. I hope that deepen your desire to live the principles of nonviolence. At this point, I'd like to call Ms. Riza Camacho to give us a quick synthesis of this event.
Can you hear me po?
Yes, Ms.
Mema.
Riza.
Thank you. Okay, thank you everyone for your engaging questions and insights. We are blessed this afternoon to have 3 young women speakers for sharing their motivating stories of nonviolence. They have demonstrated immense courage and dedication to fostering peace in their respective communities with the help of their organizations. Their voices serve as powerful reminders for all of us of the transformative impact that young women can have in shaping a more just and harmonious society. As we reflect on the stories shared today, it is clear that nonviolence is not just a choice, but a powerful tool for change. Each speaker has illustrated how their experiences have shaped their understanding of peace building, conflict resolution, and the importance of empathy and dialogue, which of course includes active listening. Let us carry these lessons with us and continue to advocate for nonviolence in our communities. Thank you and have a peaceful afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Riza, for that synthesis. At this point, I'd like to call on screen Mr. Mon Moleño to give us the closing remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Mirma. I want to express my gratitude to all speakers for their inspiring stories and to everyone who participated in today's discussion. Remember, the journey towards nonviolence starts with each one of us. Let us take the lessons learned today and apply them in our daily lives. Together, we can create a more peaceful world. Thank you all for joining us and hope to see you at our future events.
Thank you, Sir Mon. And of course, thank you to all the students who participated. And thank you, of course, to our speakers for your encouraging words. At this point, before we all go and close, just two things. Please answer the evaluation form, which is posted in our chat box. Make sure that you do that before you leave the call. And secondly, it's time to open the camera and give us your best smile because we're going to have a group photo. What is a Zoom public forum without the photo, right? So again, this is just for documentation purposes. And we would like to request everyone to just turn on their camera so that Miss Bev can help us with our group photo this afternoon. Okay, go ahead. Ang gaganda naman pala at ang gugwapo ng mga kasama natin dito sa call, no? All right, so there are still a few students. Happy to see everybody here. Okay, Miss Bev, are you ready to take our photo? Miss Bev, are you ready? Is Miss Bev in the call? Mukhang nawala si Miss Bev. Miss Soda, can you help us take the
Yes, miss.
photo?
For
Okay, go
sure.
ahead.
Sige
All
po.
right, so we have 2 panels, right?
We have 3
Oh,
actually.
3.
Sige
All
po.
right.
1, 2, 3. Okay, next panel. 1, 2, 3. Last panel. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Okay. Thank you
Ang gaganda
po.
talaga ng ngiti ng mga taong non-violent. All right, so with that said, thank you everyone. We hope to see you all again at the next Pax Christi Pilipinas online event. Thank you all for being here and for your contributions. Have a wonderful evening. Peace to everybody. Bye.
And excellent hosting to Mirma. See you again in our next activity.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gail. Hi, Dr. Castro. Hello, you're here. Hello, Dr. C.